Well, hello Maus Werx fans, and welcome back. This is going to be another edition of Tips and Hints, and for this I'm going to actually show how to use, and I don't know if I've shown this, I probably did a long time ago, but anyways, these little guys right here, which is something I manufacture, and these are from Maus Werx, and they are actually called just sanding sticks, 1/4-inch sanding tools, and I'm going to give a demonstration of how these work. They work very well on knockout pin marks on model kits, and you may not use these often, but you'll be surprised that they're the only thing that works for certain things. So let's get going and show you what we got on the bench. Alrighty, now we're at the bench, and I've got a cowl to a ICM brand 1/24 scale Speedster. It's a Model T 1913 Model T Speedster. This is the cowl. Anyways, on the inside of the cowl, which I'm going to have open to display the engine, I've got two nasty knockout pins. Now they're not raised, so I can't sand them straight off, and they were deep enough I couldn't just sand them out. So what I did is I've taken a little bit of my super glue here, and with a toothpick filled them in just above the level of the plastic. So they're kind of like a little half bubble here. And then I accelerated them with some accelerator, this stuff here. Now the accelerator sometimes makes the super glue shrink and get bubbles in it, so I did 2 layers of it. That way when I sand this I'll have no holes in it, but if I do, I can just do the whole process again, just trying to avoid doing that the first time. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with my Maus Werx sanding sticks, and these are color coded, basically going from dark to light, and the dark is 220, the blue, which is blue, the green is 320, the red is 400, the orange is 600, and the yellow is 1500. So going from one to the other. Now these little guys have a sanding pad on them, and it's mounted with a piece of foam, and so they actually can ride on the plastic parts, so it won't dig in and scratch and gouge things, so it'll actually soften the sanding. So that actually is part of the invention, part of it that makes these work really well. So what we're going to do now, these are cut at about a 45-degree angle, so you can get in there with your fingers really easy. And I'm going to start with the 220, which is pretty rough, and I'm just going to start sanding at it. Now the initial sanding is going to take a while, and you don't want to really press very hard. Let the sandpaper do the cutting for you, and we'll just keep going, and eventually we will get to the point where it is going to be smooth and level with the plastic itself. So you can see it's starting to come down to the plastic level. Again, these are pretty much the only tool that'll work. If you use a sanding stick, most sanding sticks unfortunately are either too big, or it's very hard to get in there without beveling a certain angle and accidentally sanding something else. So these little guys get in there and do a good job, and you don't have to be exact on your pressure because of that foam. It'll actually level the pad out, and again, like I said, just let the sandpaper do the cutting. So we will keep sanding at this until it's level, and then we'll move to the next grit, which you can actually use wet. These can actually be used with water, so I'm going to dip it in a little bit of water, and then I'm going to go over and sand out the sanding marks that I made with the 220. And then once that's done, I'll keep continuing to going with the different grades, eventually getting to the 1500, which will polish it out. Now you do want to go in small areas, smallest area you can first, and then your second sanding stick, you'll go to a bigger area and a bigger area and a bigger area as you go through your sticks. That way you don't accidentally miss any of the deep gouges that you make with the really raw grit. That way when you're doing the final one, you're actually going to be polishing the whole thing. So I'll continue with these and show you what's going on. Okay, so I am done polishing it all out and brushed it off with my toothbrush to get all the debris out. And as you can see, there's a little, you can see a little ghost image from the light, but the where the super glue is, or was, and still is, and but once it's painted, these will be completely gone. It is completely polished out. One way to check is you can put it up towards the light, and you can see the light gleam across it. And if you see no bumps or anything in the shine of the light, you know you've actually done your job. So anyways, that's how to use these little beasties. They are very handy, and I do use them to sell them to have the money for the channel, so I can keep doing this for you guys. I do want to show you how to clean them and how to change the bits to them. So basically, I've got a little bit from what I've used, and I'm going to take my electric toothbrush and I'm just going to hit it, and it'll get all that debris out of the sanding grit, and you're ready to go again. And this stuff is impervious to water. I mean, eventually if you soak it too much, they can come off, but it's just dipping them in water and using them wet sanding, they work great. As you can see, I was using them wet sanding and they don't come off. Now if you do need them to come off after they get worn out, what you're going to do is real easy to change these out, and they will last a long time. You don't need to change these out too often, but get one of the replacement pads here. Oh, and by the way, the longer you let that super glue set up, the harder it is going to be to sand it, because super glue just gets harder and harder as time goes by. So I'm just going to take this little guy right here, and I'm just going to take my fingernail and I'm going to pull it off. And then there's some residue of the actual adhesive. That kind of shows you how sticky these actually really are. Just going to use my fingernail to scrape it off, like so. Wipe it off, make sure it's a clean surface. You can use alcohol if you want to get it completely clean. Peel the backing off of the replacement, and then get it centered as much as possible. Doesn't really matter if it's a little off-centered, and then just give it a good push on there to activate the adhesive, and you're ready to go again. So that's it pretty much of how to use my Maus Werx sanding sticks. Alrighty, Maus Werx fans, that's a wrap on how to use my Maus Werx sanding sticks. So go ahead and go to mauswerx.com, just like the package says there, and pick up a set of them. I use those to fund this channel, and you will not regret buying them. I actually invented them for myself, and then they worked so well I decided to start manufacturing them and selling them. So go ahead and pick up a set and support the channel. And as always, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get all the video updates that I make. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you real soon.